There are many stars in the music world, but Celine Dion is one of the most famous. Her singing, which is so beautiful it takes your breath away, along with her kindness to others and, dare we say it, unforgettable fashion choices, have left an indelible mark on both music and pop culture. No matter how popular Celine Dion is, there is still a question that no one can answer. What is the real story behind her fame? Prepare yourself. This story is full of triumphs, sadness, and an inspiring change that has hooked people all over the world. Early life. We can talk about what happened and the tragedies that happen in every great life. But first, let's go back in time and see how Celine Dion became the star she is today. Few names in the history of music are as well known around the world as Celine Dion's. She was born on March 30th, 1968, in Charlemagne, Quebec, Canada. For more than 30 years, her mesmerizing talents have kept people glued to their seats. There were 14 children in Celine's family, and she was the youngest. Her family was full of music, but not necessarily money. Celine's entry into the music business, despite not having a lot of money, showed not only how talented she was, but also how much her parents loved and supported her. They made Celine's home a loving and musical place where her ability could grow because they were both musicians. They even got together and sang in a cute little group called Dion's Family, which entertained people at local events across Canada. The music-filled childhood Celine had set the stage for her amazing journey. In her first performance at the piano bar her parents owned, which they called Love You à Barrel, we see what you did there, Thérèse. She was only 5 years old, but her voice belied her age. Thérèse, a woman with a good sense of ability, and maybe a touch of fate, saw the spark in her daughter. Her first song, a sad ballad called It Was Only a Dream, was even written by her. As luck would have it, it was a key moment on Celine's way to becoming famous. Thérèse sent a recording of the song to René Angelil, a famous music manager in Quebec. She did this with the intuition of a mother and a bit of bravery. They had no idea that what they did would change the history of music forever. René was shocked by how much promise he heard in Celine's voice. To really take over the music world and go beyond the francophone world, a fancy word for French-speaking, Celine made a smart choice. She set out to learn English, which was a way for her to rebrand herself for the world stage. This risky move was meant to make her even more famous as a foreign artist. Even though Celine's childhood was hard, because her family didn't have a lot of money and there were a lot of brothers, their home was always full of music and love. This place taught her the unchanging values of sticking with something and working hard. The simple life the Dion family lived taught Celine early on how to be strong. Imagine not having your own place, and not having the things that make you feel safe and secure as a child. Still, Celine did very well in the fun chaos of having a big family. This experience would later teach her to value the little things in life. The Dion family stayed strong, even though they were having a hard time. Their constant determination to follow their dreams shows how strong they were. René Angelil heard Celine's musical ability and was impressed by her mother, Thérèse, who sang the lead role in the first important song. René took a huge risk by mortgaging his own house to pay for Celine's first album because he saw the promise in her voice. Talk about having faith in someone. Celine kept looking to Thérèse for direction and singing inspiration. She was always there for her and gave her great support and wise advice. Another important person to remember is Celine's brothers, many of whom were musically talented. They always helped Celine, and it's clear that their own artistic paths shaped and improved hers as she became a famous singer. When you think about Celine's difficult childhood, it's clear that her formative years were the furnace that made her strong, the foundation of her character, and the reason she is so dedicated to her work. Celine's unmatched work ethic and meteoric rise to fame were built on the lessons she learned from her humble beginnings, her family's unwavering support, and her own fierce desire to rise above her circumstances. Still, there is a question that everyone wants to know. What of the Celine Dion of today? What happened to this famous musician? Get ready for your interest to be piqued, dear reader, because we are about to start an interesting journey through her successes, her inevitable struggles, and the inspiring change that has made her one of music's most famous legends. Early career. When Celine Dion was young, she had a lot of natural ability, a strong drive to succeed, and a lucky meeting with René Angélil. This respected music manager was blown away by Dion's voice when he heard her sing a song that she and her mother had written together when she was only 12 years old. Angélil saw a diamond in the rough and sent a very lucky request for an audition. This important event, like a plot twist in a captivating story, changed Dion's fate for good. Angélil was so impressed that she set out to develop her ability and help her become a famous musician in the future. Celine Dion was already a famous French-Canadian singer by the time she was 18. With 9 records and a trophy case full of Felix Awards, it was clear that she was talented. Still, Celine and her smart boss René wanted to sing to everyone. They knew that Celine's voice had to appeal to more people if she wanted to take over the music world. So Celine did something as brave as a high note. She decided to learn English for a whole year. This hard work paid off when her first English record, appropriately named Unison, came out in 1990. A record called Unison was more than just an album. It was a passport to fame around the world, thanks to hits like Where Does My Heart Beat Now? Dion was introduced to audiences outside of her home countries of Quebec and France through this musical passport, which laid the groundwork for her international fame and success. Dion's win at the 1988 Eurovision Song Contest with Ne partez pas sans moi solidified her place on the world stage, even though there were initial concerns about her not defending her home country. Her song My Heart Will Go On, which was the theme song for the hit movie Titanic, made her even more famous in the music world. This classic song is still one of the best-selling records of all time, and it earned her the well-deserved Academy Award for Best Original Song in 1997. International recognition and iconic achievements. Celine Dion had a wonderful concert in the 1990s. She reached new heights in her career after the release of her first English song, Unison. Celine's voice, which she says was a gift from God, and her amazing language skills put her in the spotlight and captivated people all over the world, in both English and French. In 1991, her duet with Peabo Bryson for Disney's Beauty and the Beast won a Grammy and became a huge hit in the United States. Then came The Color of My Love in 1993. Hits like The Power of Love and The Color of My Love made her even more famous. With each soul-stirring show, Celine's mesmerizing vocals and deep emotional connection hit home, bringing her to the top of the music world. The fact that Celine Dion is loved and praised all over the world is proof of how successful her work has been. One could say that Celine's musical paradise arrived when My Heart Will Go On, the timeless song that was in the hit movie Titanic, came out in 1997. This song sent her to the top of the charts and etched her name forever in the halls of music history. So many awards have been given to her that her prize cabinet is overflowing. She has won 5 Grammy Awards, 2 Academy Awards, 7 Billboard Music Awards, and a whopping 12 World Music Awards. Many of Celine's records have sold more than 1 million copies, which is proof that her music is pure gold. And to show how famous she is in the music world, she is on both the Walk of Fame in Canada and the Walk of Fame in Hollywood. Talk about a path littered with stars. Marriage life with Angélil. When Celine Dion and René Angélil announced they were getting married in 1994, the whole world went crazy. This statement was a love song come true. It showed how much they loved and admired each other. Their wedding, which took place at Montreal's Notre Dame Basilica, was a big deal and got a lot of praise from both fans and music stars. As Celine's career took off, so did the depth of her emotional life. René was a complex gem who was more than just her boss and guide. He was also her rock, her confidant, and her biggest fan. Celine Dion's early years in the music business were beautifully linked to her relationship with René Angélil. They were like a knight and his shining armor. They could handle problems and doubters like they were nothing. This only made Celine more determined, and the intense pressure turned her into a gem. In the end, they made it possible for her to become a huge star in pop music, and her name will forever be in the Musical Hall of Fame. This part of Celine's journey shows how well her ability and René's unwavering faith in her work together. Their unwavering support and amazing relationship built the strong base on which her remarkable career was built. Personal struggles battle with infertility. Even when she was at the height of her fame, Celine Dion had to deal with a lot of personal problems that made her strong and gave her story a greater meaning. René Angélil, Celine's manager and husband, was diagnosed with throat cancer in 1999. This was a big surprise in Celine's life. This made her feel a lot of different things, but her unshakable love shone brighter than ever. Celine put her job on hold to be there for René, which shows how much they love and care for each other. That wasn't all, though. Celine also had to deal with the very personal problem of not being able to have children. She finally told the world about this private battle, which gave hope to many women who were going through similar problems. Many rounds of IVF helped Celine become a mother, and her story became a source of hope for others. It showed that even the most famous stars have problems every day. When Celine gave birth to her first child, René Charles, in 2001, it was like a bright spot in the storm. This victory over hardship struck a chord with people all over the world. But Celine's personal problems didn't go away, even as her fame grew. René kept having health problems, and in 2010, Celine had a miscarriage, which was very sad. Still, Celine's spirit won out because it was always strong and positive. In the fall of that same year, twin boys named Nelson and Eddie were born into her family. This showed how strong she was and how much faith she had in spite of everything. Celine's rise to fame around the world wasn't just due to her music. It was also shaped by a lot of personal struggles. These events gave a full picture of a woman whose strength and drive went far beyond her amazing musical skills. It wasn't just a climb to the top of the singing mountain for Celine Dion. Her life was like a grand opera, with highs that made you soar and lows that made you cry. She became a stage star, but she was also a loving wife and mother. She handled the complexities of fame with all the ease of a pro. Due to her enduring love for her family and strong determination during René's illness, she became a role model for millions of people around the world. Celine kept a delicate balance between the demands of her personal life and her work obligations. Even when things were going badly, her music stayed a powerful reflection of her life experiences throughout this journey, connecting deeply with listeners on a deeply human level. Her songs turned into anthems of strength, reflecting the ups and downs of life's trials and victories. People who read Celine's story were moved and inspired by her unwavering determination to keep going even when things got hard. This is Celine Dion's story. Her songs and life went beyond fame, and millions of people will always remember her. Musical style, criticism, and praise. People who review music have said that Celine Dion's music is both beautiful and funny. Critics who tap their toes and raise an eyebrow say that her music is too sentimental and follows the well-worn road of pop and soul. Keith Harris of Rolling Stone magazine, on the other hand, says Celine shows her emotions through her glittery sleeve in a way that is not shy or quiet. He says that she is the queen of pop songs that make you feel everything. Her French albums, on the other hand, are seen as a deeper and more varied patchwork, which earns her even more praise in that country. There may be two Celines in this story, one who writes heartbreaking power songs and another who explores art in a more complex way. Some reviewers, bless their stiff upper lips, said Celine's early music lacked, well, her touch. They complained that there was too much staging and not enough Dion magic. But Celine, being the stubborn bird that she is, spread her wings. On her later albums, she took a more active part in writing and producing, showing that she had more control over her music. Her artistic vision was very high, but writing songs wasn't always her main melody. Celine said she wanted more input and a strong stance for music that spoke to her heart, and that was true to her art. It was no longer just Celine singing. She was now in charge of her own musical creation. Celine Dion, bless her heart, is always getting poked fun at. People all over the world find her accent and stage personality funny. She has been on Matt Lauer, Saturday Night Live, South Park, and the Royal Canadian Air Farce. Talk about a global tickle. But Celine doesn't mind. She finds it funny and even flattering that she is so well known. In a very cheeky move, she once asked Anna Gasteyer, who was great at imitating her on Saturday Night Live, to share the stage with her in New York City. That woman can laugh at herself and sing at the same time. There was a time when Celine Dion spoke out against injustice. but she did so in a strong way in 2005. When Hurricane Katrina hit land, Celine felt bad for the people who were hurt. She criticized the slow reaction to the aid crisis with tears in her eyes on Larry King Live, and her voice cracked with real disappointment. However, Celine, who is always polite, made her point clear. Her views were valid, but she saw herself as a singer and not a politician on a soapbox. It was hard for her to speak out about these things, but her message was clear. Sometimes, even the strongest voices need to be raised for those who need them. Tragedy and deaths. There was more to Celine Dion's life than glitz and Grammys. Tragedies of a very high level followed her, but she always handled them with grace and strength. Her husband, René Angélil, died in 2016, ending a beautiful love story that had been going on for over 40 years. It was clear from the way Celine talked about her sadness that she loved René very much. Even though she was in terrible pain, she showed a lot of strength by going back to her Las Vegas engagement just a month later. This wasn't just her return to the stage, it was an ode to her late husband's memory and proof of how much they loved each other. Celine Dion had a bad year in 2020. After the death of her beloved husband, she had to deal with the heartbreaking death of her mother, Thérèse Tanguay Dion, who she lovingly called Maman Dion. There was no doubt that Maman Dion had a huge impact on Celine's life and work. Even though she was very sad, Celine, who is always a fighter, still performed at a show that same day. This wasn't just about being professional. It showed how strong her mother was. She knew in her heart that Maman Dion would have sung "The Show Must Go On" herself. Celine will always remember these deaths, which shaped her as a person and as an artist. Her music became a safe place for her, a way to deal with her feelings and give herself and her many fans comfort. Celine turned her sadness into a strong melody that touched people all over the world through her music. Songs like "Recovering" and "Courage," written by Pink, which came out in 2019, showed Celine's story of getting better after being hurt deeply. These songs weren't just on a record, they told the story of her personal journey and showed how strong she was when things got hard. Even though she has had problems, Celine's achievements continue to shine like a star in the singing sky. She turned her own pain into a global anthem of strength, a light of hope that inspires millions of people around the world. Celine Dion's impact is a great example of a strong will. Her famous victories prove her obvious skill, and the way she handles personal problems with grace shows how brave her heart really is. During her whole life, Celine has been a symbol of strength and hope. Her journey has been a beautiful song, a soaring symphony of heavenly highs and tearful lows that show how strong the human spirit is. Speculation about her health. Every time a new picture of Celine comes out, rumors and whispers about her health have grown over the past few years. When Celine came back into the public eye after her husband René's death in 2016, she was thinner than before. Fans, the media, and even some critics took a second look at her new body, which led to a lot of, often dramatic, statements. Did they have an eating disorder? Shrinkage caused by stress? Do you have a secret deal with the exercise gods? Ideas spread like Celine can sing a high note. Some thought she was showing her grief by having a smaller frame, while others said it was because of the constant pressure to look perfect in the harsh world of showbiz. There was so much talk about it that Celine, who is always so nice, felt she had to address the public's worries. Celine, poor thing. Her way of getting around her sadness became to twist and jump. This difficult art form, which is known for building lean muscle and losing weight, especially with all the ice dancing, was a big part of her change. But Celine also said something nice to remember: everyone that time doesn't wait for anyone, not even a songbird. Our bodies change as we age. Things like metabolism slow down, muscles lose strength, and the number on the scale may go down. It's all a big dance called life. And Celine was just dancing to a different beat. That was not all Celine did. She skipped right over the reports about her health and talked about how her style was changing. She said that her fashion decisions had just become more stylish and sophisticated over time. This song is less power ballad and more power suit, with a touch of bombshell. "I'm doing this for me," she said. It was important for her to feel strong, beautiful, feminine, and yes, even sexy. People are very interested in Celine's weight loss. but she is still very focused on her singing and personal growth. She knows how painful it is to lose Renee, but she doesn't want that pain to be her defining song. Instead, she strikes a strong chord of toughness, grit, and self-assurance, which inspires her fans to do the same. People pay a lot of attention to famous figures' bodies, especially women. Celine's story shows this. As a warning, the most beautiful changes don't always happen on the outside, but on the inside. Oh, and Celine Dion? In that case, she's a great example of that change. The way Celine dealt with the health reports showed how to be strong, honest, and sure of her own greatness. The way she shut down the rumors showed that she is a skilled actress with the sass of a woman who knows what she's worth. Celine is still an inspiration, and not just because she has killer vocals. She also handles life's challenges with grace and a lot of "I'm doing me." Like all the other parts of Celine's story, this one shows how brave she is when things go wrong. Her unshakable love for her fans, hello, #Team Celine, and her constant growth as an artist and a person is truly inspiring. Did Celine Dion? It sounds more like Celine Defiant, who is always telling us that one fierce high note at a time, we can change our own stories. Celine Dion, as a mother philanthropist and advocate. The story of Celine Dion isn't just a singing masterpiece, it's a symphony of success that goes far beyond the stage. She's a triple threat, a beautiful singer, a loving mother, and a generous person with a big heart. She gives the same unwavering dedication to her family and charity work that she does to her music. Celine's kindness is as limitless as her skill. Three very important people in Celine's life are her three children, Renee Charles, Nelson, and Eddie, who are twins. Through IVF, Celine overcame obstacles on her way to becoming a mom. Her journey to become a mom gave her life joy and meaning. It wasn't just changing diapers and reading bedtime stories. Becoming a mother changed her whole outlook on life and became an important part of who she is. Celine Dion's life is more than just a string of #1 songs. It's a beautiful rhythm that goes beyond the stage. She's a triple threat, a beautiful singer, a caring mother, and a generous person whose heart is as big as her voice. Her unwavering loyalty to her family and to good causes is similar to how she feels about her music. Celine's ideas about how to be a good mom sound like they belong in a sweet ballad. In interviews, she sings about making a nest where her three chicks, Renee Charles and the twins, can be themselves without being judged by others. She tells them to follow their dreams and find out who they really are, which is similar to how she generally promotes acceptance and letting your freak flag fly. These aren't just parenting tips. Celine uses them in her everyday life, too. Celine cares about a lot of people, not just her close family. She fights the good fight against cystic fibrosis and is a fighter for good causes. This one hits close to home for her because her beloved sister died of the disease. Celine's unwavering commitment to this cause shows how much she really wants to change the world for the better. Both on and off stage, she's a real force of nature. She shows us that the best music often comes from people with the biggest hearts. Celine Dion is more than just a singer, she's a fighter. When Mother Nature throws a fit, Celine steps in to lend her star power and get people to help raise money for damage repairs. She is the epitome of dedication and works non-stop to bring about good change. But Celine is kind in more ways than just singing high notes for a good cause. Hospitals for kids? Check. Food banks? Check again. Working with organizations to make health and education better around the world? Sure thing. The fact that Celine gives so much shows how caring she is. Her heart is as big as her voice. Some of her fans even say that she is as down-to-earth as a Canadian coin, which shows how nice and friendly she is. A real inspiration, Celine Dion shows us all that we can make a difference, one kind act or powerful song at a time. The woman doesn't seem to care that she gets more fashion criticism than Celine's high notes. She is a strong supporter of loving yourself and always looks great in her own style. Stop following dress trends and start making your own. This brave attitude is more than just great clothes. It shows how strong she is and encourages her fans to be proud of what makes them special. The story of Celine Dion isn't just a singing masterpiece, it's a symphony of success that goes far beyond the stage. She's a triple threat: a beautiful singer, a caring mother, and a generous person whose heart is as big as her voice. Her unwavering loyalty to her family and to good causes is similar to how she feels about her music. Through her actions, Celine continues to make people's lives better, making a lasting impression with her generosity, kindness, and strength. She shows us all that real beauty comes from the inside out, encouraging us all to sing our own songs of self-acceptance. Business career. Not only is Celine Dion a singer, she is also the musical genius behind Feeling Inc., an artist management business based in Laval, Quebec. The company she started with her late husband, René Angelil, Feeling Inc., makes sure that every act they work with hits the high notes. But Celine's skills go far beyond the stage. She and René planned the opening of the Nichols restaurant chain, which many people enjoy as a culinary concerto. The fact that she owns shares in both the famous Schwartz's restaurant and the La Mirage Golf Club shows that she's a winner on and off the course, and that she knows good bagels. Celine's drive to be a business is like a power cord. She created the exciting bar Pure at the famous Caesars Palace with tennis stars Andre Agassi and Steffi Graf, as well as Shaquille O'Neal of basketball fame. Want to try more things? Celine opened the restaurant chain Nichols in 1990, and it was a huge success. She smoothly pirouetted away from the chain in 1997, but her desire to be her own boss never went away. Celine Dion Parfums was made possible by a beautiful relationship between Celine Dion and Coty that began in 2003. Signature, her latest olfactory gem, came out in September 2011 with an eye-catching ad campaign by the creative geniuses at Kraftwerks NYC in New York. Over $850 million has been spent on Celine Dion Parfums, making it a worldwide hit. It's a real olfactory ovation. Celine didn't like to rest on her ivory mics or laurels. In October 2004, she flew into a marketing campaign for Air Canada, using her voice and the lovely theme song You and I to do their marketing magic. This wasn't just a stop on Celine's rush to start her own business. The Celine Dion collection, a line of bags and items that she introduced, was an instant hit. Imagine that her bags made a cool $10 million in sales in just 3 months. Forbes magazine even wrote about it and praised Celine as an example for people who want to start their own businesses. But 2017 was a big year for change. Celine told an interesting story at the launch of her handbag line. René, her late husband, had planned every part of her work like a maestro, leading her every step. But Celine, feeling more sure of herself, said, "Now I'm the boss." It wasn't just about handbags. It meant that Celine was taking charge of her family, her shows, and everything else that was important to her. It was like a Celine Dion power song came to life. Fashion and global impact. Both Celine's voice and her style are easy to remember. Critics of fashion have called her the joyous new queen of fashion, The Guardian, the ultimate fashion risk-taker, Harper's Bazaar, and a fashion chameleon, Billboard, who changes looks so easily it's like a Vegas show with outfit changes. Vogue praised her as one of the most colorful dressers in music, saying that her stunning looks go well with her powerful voice. As clear as glitter on a dance floor, Celine has had a huge impact on music. Tatler magazine even said Cardi B could be the next Celine Dion of Paris Fashion Week, which made Celine even more of a fashion star. The amazing stylist Law Roach praised her so much that she was named the undisputed Queen of Camp and the Queen of all things sparkly and sequined. Celine is famous for a lot more than just walking the red carpet. The famous backwards tuxedo she wore to the 1999 Academy Awards cemented her place in fashion history. Vogue called it one of the most controversial looks ever, because hello, fashion is all about making a point. and W Magazine called it one of the most memorable dresses ever. Talk about making an impression that lasts. Celine has an impact on more than just fashion. Remember when a contestant on Project Runway accidentally copied her backward tuxedo? We'll just say that Celine's fans didn't like it. But her effect goes beyond a runway. It was Vice magazine that talked about how her music had shaped Nigerian society and how she was the queen of the airwaves there. By the 2000s, her music was played on TV, radio, and in commercials. It was even featured in movies with Genevieve Nnaji and Ramsey Nouah, two big names in Nollywood. Billboard even talked about how she changed the Jamaica Jazz and Blues Festival. Celine's power goes beyond music and dress. Remember how Walter Elmore, the CEO, said that Celine was the most expensive act he had ever booked? So think of it as money well spent. Her performance took the Jamaica Jazz and Blues Festival to a whole new level, and big-name U.S. artists were eager to join the high-production fun. When Celine came to Jamaica for the first time in 2012, she broke attendance records and caused a fun traffic jam around the venue, because who wouldn't want to see Celine live? But Celine's effect goes beyond just one show. Vice magazine said that her music has been played in Jamaican reggae clubs for many years. Dancehall artists honor her by covering her songs and turning her ballads into catchy dancehall hits. Modern dancehall artists still add upbeat guitars, pan flutes, and backbeat shuffles to Celine's melodies, which keeps her music fresh for a whole new group of fans. Current status, health challenges, and introduction to acting. Early in 2022, she called off her North American tour because she was having serious muscle spasms. The music world went silent. Later that year, she was told she had stiff person syndrome, a rare neurological disease that caused her annoying spasms. This meant that no more tour plans would happen. She wrote a sad song for her fans, but her health comes first. That won't stop Celine, though. In May 2023, she showed how strong she was by canceling the rest of her tour plans to focus on her fight with the disease. She didn't go away totally, though. Celine made a stunning movie debut in Love Again, and she even added 5 new songs to the music. The first song, Love Again, came out in April 2023, and soon after, the whole soundtrack. And the show has to go on, even if it's just a movie. The documentary I Am Celine Dion, which tells the story of her life with stiff person syndrome, was set to come out in January 2024 by Amazon MGM Studios. This sounds like it will be a strong and moving story, showing how strong and resilient Celine is. Celine Dion's legacy. Many people see her as an icon of pop music, and she's been called Priestess of Pop, and even Queen of Pop, along with Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey. Her strong vocals have changed the style, making the power ballad famous and inspiring a whole generation of female singers. Billboard even named her the best-selling female act of our time. Celine's impact is bigger than just the number of records she sells. Randy Jackson and other big names in the business say that her voice, along with Houston and Carey's, defines the modern age. She has such an effect that hopeful singers on talent shows like American Idol try to copy her powerful style. Celine has a huge impact on many people. Many artists, from pop stars like Britney Spears and Rihanna, to powerful singers like Adele and Josh Groban, say she had a big effect on them or their all-time favorite. Beyoncé, Elton John, and Quincy Jones, who are all big names in music, have bowed down to Celine's singing skills and given her lots of praise. Also, don't forget that she won the most Juno Awards ever, including the Album of the Year award. This made her even more of a star. Sure, some people might have felt a little, "My heart will go on," when she wasn't on a magazine's list of the best musicians. But that debate only shows how important Celine was. She is one of the best-selling acts of all time, having sold an amazing 200 million albums around the world. There is truth in the numbers, and Celine's legacy is a beautiful tune that will keep playing for years to come. Celine's life hasn't always been easy, but through all of her successes and failures, her mesmerizing voice has stayed the same, attracting people all over the world. Her story is a moving ballad about being strong and kind. She is famous for her music, loves her family, and helps others. Her heart shines as brightly as her ability. Celine's life has been full of ups and downs, from her humble beginnings in Charlemagne, Quebec, to her world fame. Through it all, millions of people have loved her for being real, strong, and having unmatched ability. As Celine keeps writing her story, one thing is certain: her impact will be felt for years to come, showing how music has the power to change people and how strong the human spirit is.